Yo peeps, Mischief here. So today we're going to be looking into the Anunnaki, the Sumerians, the Kuiper Belt, what's outside there, and Planet X. Let's get into this. Cue the title sequence. Yeah! There we go. Okay, so Anunnaki, then, they are the ancient gods of the Sumerians. Now, a lot of people think that Sumer was a state, a place, a land. It wasn't. It was a collection of cities. Each city housed its own god. So, obviously, the Akkadians, the Assyrians, and the Babylonians all write about the Sumerians as being one of the earliest sort of civilizations. And in earliest Sumerian writings about them, which come from the post-Akkadian period, the Anunnaki are deities in the pantheon descending of An and Kai, the god of the heavens and the goddess of the earth. And their primary function was to decree the fates of humanity. So we've got a lot of mythology and stuff around them, a lot of worship. But were they actually a real thing? Now, it is claimed, obviously, by, as they describe him, a pseudo-archaeologist, Eric von Daniken, who wrote The Chariot of Gods in 1986. He claimed that extraterrestrials, ancient astronauts, as we come to know them now, which, if you watch his channel, right, you know that I should be on Ancient Aliens as an expert of UFOs, because some people just talk a load of crap. But anyway, you know, they had visited, obviously, prehistoric Earth. Duncan explains that the origins of religions and reactions to contact with alien race, and offers interpretation of the Sumerian text as an Old Testament as evidence. In his 1976 book, The 12th Planet, author Zachariah Sitchin claimed that the Anunnaki were actually advanced humanoid extraterrestrial species from the undiscovered planet of Nibiru, which I'm going to be getting into in a minute, who came to Earth around 500,000 years ago and constructed a base of operations in order to mine gold, and discovered that the planet was rich in precious metals. According to Sitchin, the Anunnaki hybridized their species and Homo erectus in a sort of collaboration of human cloning and experimentation to produce us, so that we could basically mine gold for them. The main theory behind this was that they needed gold to basically reinstate their atmosphere. Now, there's lots of different things, obviously, around the Anunnaki and the Sumerians. Now, the Sumerians were the first ones to create writing. They did this because, obviously, as their territories expanded, they needed to be able to communicate across large areas. So they made this kind of stigmatized kind of writing where it was chiseled into stone, and certain images, basically sort of mini hieroglyphic writings, could depict what was going on. And as you can see here, I've got some text for you to have a look at. So also we've got another guy that talks about these as well. So Ronald H. Fritz writes that according to Sitchin, the Anunnaki built the pyramids and all other monumental structures from around the ancient world. The ancient astronaut theory is considered to be impossible to build without highly advanced technologies. Now, I have covered bits on, you know, the Orion correlation theory and stuff, and the fact that the pyramids and stuff were possibly built a long time ago, and this is something I'm going to be getting into more and more. Now, I still believe that we built them as a species, that we built the pyramids, that we built the Sphinx and all this other kind of stuff. I do believe that we built it a lot earlier than people think that we did. There's a lot of evidence to say that they've been around a lot longer. You know, the water erosion marks around the Sphinx. And now that we're getting a lot more evidence from, like, you know, the Cradle of Life, which is where Sumeria was, which is obviously in Turkey, you know, it's proven that we were doing more things back in the past. But was it sort of brought on by an advanced civilization? Was it brought on by aliens? Was it brought on by what we would consider to be extraterrestrial beings? You know, the Anunnaki or these kind of people. Obviously, you know, you've got claims that they either have stayed here or that they're on planet X right now and that they are still watching over us. So I want to just delve into Nibiru then a little bit on planet X. So there is a possibility of and it's even suggested by NASA, that there is a potential planet X outside of our solar system, a larger planet that orbits the sun. It's got an elongated orbit far beyond Pluto. The object, which the researchers have nicknamed Planet 9, could have a mass of about 10 times that of Earth and orbit about 20 times further from the sun on average than Neptune. It would take 10,000 to 20,000 Earth years to make one full orbit around the sun. Now, this is the object that they have sort of caught out there. Is this Nibiru? Is this, where the Anunaki are? Or the Dracos? Okay, so I'm going on to this other tangent as well now, because this planet would be outside the Kuiper Belt. Okay, now the Kuiper Belt, if you don't know, is a massive ring of debris around our solar system. So it's a circumstellar disk in the outer solar system extending from the orbit of Neptune at about 30 astronomical units, approximately 50 AU from the sun. This is similar to the asteroid belt, but is far larger, 20 times as wide and 20 to 200 times as massive. Like the asteroid belt, it contains many small bodies and remnants of solar system when it was first formed, but it also contains many large bodies, which would be considered to be small exoplanets, basically. And there's lots of them. Now, if you go and watch the Y-Files, I love the Y-Files, he's done an episode on the Kuiper Belt. And out in the Kuiper Belt, there is objects out there that we do not know what they are. They spin faster than anything we've seen. They move around. Now, if you wanted to hide a civilization or, stay out of someone's way, it's the perfect place to be, outside the Kuiper Belt. And once you go outside the Kuiper Belt as well, you've got the Oort cloud. So the Oort cloud, sometimes referred to as Ockpid Oort cloud, is theorized to be a vast cloud of icy planet-sized objects, basically, and smaller clusters surrounding the sun at a distance ranging from 200 to 200,000 AU, which is 0.3 to 3.2 light years away. The concept of such a cloud was proposed in 1950 by the Dutch astronomer Jan Oort, whose honour idea was named after him. Oort proposed that the bodies of this cloud replenished and could keep constant number. Over a long period, comets entered the inner solar system, where they were eventually consumed and destroyed during close sun approaches. So there's some images here for you of the Oort belt, of the Kuiper Belt, of the Oort cloud. We're basically surrounded as a planet. And I have different theories of why we might be surrounded in possible ways, which is coming out in the book, and Bridges, and you'll see there my sort of theories. But I find it fascinating. We have no idea. I mean, we can see now with the Hubble telescope, with the James Webb telescope, further out. We're discovering more and more things every day. We find out more stuff from NASA all the time. Could there be people living on this planet X? Could they be the Anunaki? Or could they be the Dracos from the 20 and Back story? If you've never heard that, go check out Y-Files. That's he covers it in depth on there. And I have little experiences of this from my childhood about certain things, which I'm going to get to on an episode at some point, of my paranormal experiences when I was younger, and memories and visions of things that I had of being in places that I haven't been before, or assume I haven't been before. And the 20 and Back, if you've never heard of it, basically is a group of people, or well, it was actually proposed by one man, and he basically said that Will Budon, who wrote basically 20 and Back. Now, there are lots of whistleblowers that are coming up and claiming that they have been involved in this secret space program. which they call 20 and back. Okay, and it basically says that as a child you are abducted and slowly tested and trained into this secret space agency. If you've never heard of this, go and check it out, okay? Because it's a weird one, but it's one that actually kind of makes sense. Whether it's been made up or not, I'm not too sure. But like I say, this refers back to some memories that I've got, which have been becoming more and more vivid when I get older about things. So I don't know what to make of this. But basically, the space program says that they are sent off to work on Mars at some point, and you get upgraded. Basically, people claim to have had cybernetic implants, to have basically been given some kind of abilities, to have been trained. And over this 20 years, you're sent out to work alongside this Space Force. So the secret space program. The term 20 and back refers to 20-year commitment that these military men and women take when they sign up to go into space. The amount of time they are forced to serve as slaves, basically. So recent whistleblowers to divulge their involvement in the SSP are Tony Rodriguez, who went public in 2006, and Michael Geloff, who went public this year in 2017. Their testimonies are remarkable and echo accounts of experiences many other whistleblowers who recall lost memories and or have gone public about their story of being part of the SSP. Now, apparently you are serving the space program for us as part of a program to keep these people called the Draco away. This is a bit from Tony Rodriguez. Then he was abducted as a young boy and eventually ended up back in his 20s. Ended up back in the 20 and back in the program. He claims he was abducted by 5 aliens after teasing another kid about his grade, whose father was high up in the Illuminati. He had a grey ET in his house. Met a funny reptilian who joked with him and did a Bruce Lee impersonation. He ended up in a situation where he was used with other children as sex slaves in Seattle at the age of 13. He underwent brutal training during sexual abuse and being forced to attend satanic ritual and encourage cannibalism. Or he is tested through Theta. During his time at the SSP, Tony was treated as a slave and had to work incredibly hard. He and the other recruits were treated like carrot and stick mentality. If rewarded or punished, he worked as cargo officer on a ship within the solar system, dropping off cargo at various bases, including moons, other planets, and places on Saturn. He reveals how some of the cargo was advanced alien technology, nuclear missiles, far sophisticated than terrestrial nuclear weapons. He mostly worked on Ceres, the largest asteroid in the solar system. The asteroid is in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. There was a large base concealed in the darkness on the location of Ceres, where the sun does not shine. Tony recalls visiting Earth-like planets during his SSP time. So there's many people that claim that they've had these kind of things going on with them. Now, is it a traumatic thing from childhood, as he's mentioned there, and then he's sort of made this thing up to cope with it? I'm not sure. But there are lots and lots of people coming forward. Now, whether they want to jump on this bandwagon. Now, the reason I'm mixing this in with the Anunnaki is because these people claim that this space program, the 20 and back thing, occurs outside of our solar system, basically, or on the edge of our solar system. And that they have this 20-year service. Now, the reason that they don't remember fully or anything is because basically after the 20 years of your service, you are then regressed back in time to when you first got abducted. Now, it's not an impossibility, is it? I mean, we've seen Quantum Leap. Okay, Sam Beckett, he was jumping through time through himself. So could that be what's possibly happening? Have the Anunnaki basically found a way to use us, to use us as weapons, as some kind of military force, and then regress us back in time and send us back? Have they been here the whole time? Were the Sumerians right? I mean, we still go by things like the calendar, not of ancient Sumer, but of the Mayan calendar and things. But they all work on similar principles. They all had knowledge of what we assume to be sort of advanced technologies. They all talk about alien races or alien people or as gods, basically, coming down here in ships and other things. So let me know what you guys think. Are the Anunnaki real? Are they, not just a figment of people's imagination? If you look into things like the Hindu texts, you know what I mean, and the Vedas, they talk about aliens coming down, very similar to the Anunnaki, very similar beings, Kai, Ra, all these people, similar names, similar things. Are they the same people? Who knows? Is this 20 and back program part of this that's been going on forever? Do we get cycled back? Now, off another tangent, there's the other thing that people think we get cycled back through the moon, our soul energy. Sounds like a very similar thing going on there. There's something else happening here. And if we have ancient civilizations that were the mother of civilizations, as you want to call it. I mean, obviously now we know about Karantepe, Karahantepe, all these places basically that are now emerging that show earlier versions of stuff, Were they given to us by godlike beings? Were they given to us by aliens? Was it just an advanced human race that was from here that left here after a massive asteroid impact or something? Who knows? Who knows? But it's fascinating, isn't it? So, in the comments, guys, if you could let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be covering this a bit more in depth in sort of a part 2 for you, going a bit more into the 20 and back story and looking into a few more bits for this. So look out for part 2 of this episode. But yeah, give me your comments on what you think. Anunnaki, real or not? Were we created by them? Now, as I've mentioned before in a lot of my abduction cases that I've been bringing forward, a lot of people mention that we have been held back somehow, genetically, that we are being, manipulated, held back somehow, not reaching our full potential. So in part 2, we're going to look at full potential. We're going to look at what people say when they're being abducted. And if we can tie in this 20 and back thing with the Anunnaki or with anybody else, the Dracos, who are they? Let's have a look. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one. Look out for part 2.